You come here, you start from here.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Can you please confirm if you can hear me? If you can hear me, please type yes in the questions box. Otherwise, type no. If there is distortion or echo, please state that. There is a lag. Yes, lag is possible because this is voice over IP. It goes onto the net, gets into your computer. So lag is a bit of possibility. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome to this session on personal leadership, a very, very important session in our series of soft skill webinars. And leadership for this year has been picked up as the key theme for our personal effectiveness series of webinars. Welcome all of you. We're very glad that once again we've received a phenomenal response. There are members from across 13 countries who are attending today's webinar. And I would like to welcome all of them to this webinar. A few changes and a few announcements before we resume. Number one, this time you will notice a slight difference in the screens that are before you. So if you see your webinar screen, this time probably two menus will be appearing before you. So please do not get worried about the two menus. Actually, we are sharing our screen with you, and that's why our menu will also be visible. We will not be able to, it will be inactive. The second menu is your access to go to webinar. Okay. So please keep both these menus in mind when they're seen on your screen. They should not be bothering you. You can access the one, once again, you can access the one that is activated, and you can type in your questions there, you can raise your hand, or you can read our answers in that screen. But on this other screen, on this other menu, that is actually our own web menu. So what you decided is to keep this webinar very, very interactive. We will be doing conversations that you will then be able to see. Right now, what happens is if another attendee writes a question or writes a comment, other participants are unable to view those comments. But with this change that we've made, you will be able to see the comments that other people are making. So there are certain points in the presentation or in the training where we will share the questions dialog box with you, and you will get to know what other people are writing. So it becomes a chat room in a way as well. So that is one way. The other way which we will be using for interaction is through our poll questions. And I'm sure all of you, if you have attended webinars, must be familiar with how do we run. Sorry, so the other second possibility of interaction is going to be through poll questions. Number three is that at certain points during the workshop, we will unmute some participants. So please make sure that if you are willing to speak, you need to have your microphone switched on, and make sure the microphone in your laptops or computers is working. We will, of course, give you a precursor, a notice in advance. We'll tell you whoever wants to contribute, please raise hand, and then we will randomly pick up a couple of members, the participants, who will then be asked to, through audio, give their comments or feedback. So there are these three ways of interaction. I mean, since these workshops are not purely technical, so these are soft skills related workshops, there's a lot of interaction required. Otherwise, the usefulness of these webinars is compromised. And the trainer, Mr. Mubin, and Saif and I, we sat down yesterday, we did quite a lot of discussion deliberation on how to make this webinar more interactive. So that's the plan. One last announcement, and then I will hand over to the trainer. The announcement is that whenever we run a webinar, we do a routine check of who are the people who have registered for it. This time around, there were 1,300 registrations, and when we look at these registrations, we then dig out whether they are ACCA members or not, and number two, if they are ACCA members, are they active ACCA members? So this time we have figured out that there were about 352 individuals who had either mentioned their registration ID wrongly or they were suspended ACCA members. Let me very clearly state, we are very sort of, we don't want to make an issue out of it. We are very flexible that way. We want as many people to be able to learn as possible. However, attending these webinars or attending professional development sessions that we deliver is the prerogative of active ACCA members. And the reason why we say that is very simple and logical. The reason is that these webinars or all the activities that ACCA performs are possible through the subscription amount that all the active students, affiliates, and members pay us. So therefore, attending these webinars is the right of those individuals who have paid their subscriptions. If you have not paid your subscription, it is not right that you attend the webinar as well. We are not taking a discrete action in this case. We could have very easily taken them out of the webinar, send them an apology note, but we don't want to do that. Right? In future, I will request that if you want to continue to benefit from the activities we perform, if you like the work we do and you want to remain a part of it, please remain an active ACCA student, affiliate, or a member. I hope you appreciate that. If you do, please state so in the question box. If you have a disagreement, please write that as well. So I would like to hear from you what is your opinion on this matter. Thank you. Is this Sayyid Zedi? Sahreen, thank you. Sharik, thank you very much. I appreciate. Fantastic. So I think with your agreement, we will move on this time. In future, we will try to. However, there is one little thing that I want to make clear. Issuance of certificates. Since CPD is only a requirement for active ACCA members, we will only be issuing certificates to those individuals who are active ACCA members. Okay, I hope that makes sense. The other individuals who are attending it can very well attend it, improve their knowledge, increase their knowledge, but they will not be receiving the ACCA certificate for these workshops. Once again, do you agree with this? Thank you, Imran. That's a good approach. Yes, I appreciate. Sharik, Zedisa. Excellent, fantastic, excellent. So I think without further ado, I will now hand over to Mr. Mubin, and you can see him on the screen. Mr. Mubin is a very learned individual, a new discovery to and new introduction to the ACCA fraternity, the community. Mr. Mubin, I'd like you to introduce yourself to our members and welcome to the ACCA fraternity also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon. Welcome to this personal leadership workshop. It's afternoon here, evening in some country, and maybe morning in some part of the world. So welcome to all. Welcome to this journey of leadership. And this topic is a very vast topic. It has lots of depth. What we will be touching here will be the fundamentals, the basics, the seeds of leadership. I'm not going to discuss in detail the various levels of strategies or strategies of leaderships. I'm talking only about the basic, how do you become a leader? I'm a corporate trainer. I'm a director of talent development company, a company that I founded around 1 year ago. I have given trainings to corporations like Coke, Nestle, Tetra Pak, and many organizations at the national and international level on various issues of management, leadership, team building. I'm an active consultant as well. During my interaction with corporate world, I have found out that many people who may be at the top position, CEOs, directors, GMs, they may be holding the leadership position, but their foundations of leaderships are weak. And I found out with the students, I've been teaching to students a lot. I've been associated with academia for around 16 years. I found out that in academia, we really do not teach leadership. We teach management. We teach the theories of leadership, but we do not teach them how to become a leader. This is a journey of leadership which is very different from reading it on the book. In this journey, I will invite you to explore what is leadership. I will tell you some fundamental ingredients that have been discovered through research. These are not my own thinking. I'm talking with research at my back, and hundreds of years of research that I'm referring to now. There is no conclusive argument that this is how you should become a leader, but yes, there's a lot of evidence that suggests these are important steps in leadership. Research in leadership is ongoing and it's not ending. So in this 3.5-hour seminar, we will be discussing the fundamental aspects of leadership. How can you become a leader? So that is that. So, and in the meanwhile, we will be discussing, and you will be raising questions whenever you want, and Saf is with me and he can highlight those questions, and we will be interacting as much as possible given the environment limitations of this technology in the environment. That what we can do, we will try to interact at the maximum. So I hope you will bear with me. Okay, let's start our seminar on personal leadership. So the first module is about understanding leadership. In this session, these are the questions that we will answer in this seminar. Read the questions clearly. Question number 1, what is leadership? What do you think is leadership? Question number 2, can leadership really be learned? It's a major debate. It had been, no more, but I think no more. It was an old debate, but still an important debate because many people, they really don't know the various theories of leadership. And an important question because I assume most of you are working, you are managers, you are CEOs, MDs in our organization, managing your own concerns. So one major question that people normally ask me, what is the difference between a leader and a manager? We will highlight and see the difference. Then most of the people confuse leadership with the leadership style. So we will briefly, very briefly touch leadership styles, very briefly, because this topic is not about identifying and creating leadership styles. That's another seminar. And the most important, what are various leadership skills? These are the major questions that I will highlight. And the last one, the various leadership skills, I will dwell more on it. So, first question and I would like you to participate with me. I will be asking you questions to which I will be expecting response from you. For example, this first question, as you can see, is read, write all the thoughts that come in your mind with the word leader. When you hear the word or think about the word leader, what comes in your mind? For example, a person who is in front. What else? What words do you think? Please write. You have 1 minute to write.
So these are the answers. You may read them up.
Motivator, Atirbar, Rajiv Dogra, who get the team, boss, developer, Zishan, excellent, a political leader, coach, who sets an example, takes responsibility, charisma, the one who has the ability to lead, a person who can connect, excellent, influencer, motivator, responsible, religious leader, encourage others, problem solver, mentor, direct, influential.
Yeah. Good enough.
Now, and this list that is appearing in front of us, what do we see? Who's a problem solver? Who's a sharer? Who's a negotiator? So you see one thing. Please hide this. So if you see, a leader is a person who is a direction setter, who is a change agent, who uses power, who is a controller, who is a motivator, who is a team builder, who has followers. All of these words define leadership. Yes, they do. They also define that leadership is a process, is a position, is a phenomenon where one focuses on others. It's an inside-out phenomenon. So leader is a person who works with others. Similarly, having said that, the leadership is a phenomenon that deals with others. It's an inside-out phenomenon. Can you identify, give me a brief definition of leadership. How do you define leadership? So you have 1 minute. Questions? So define leadership. How would you define leadership? What is your definition of leadership? Ability to lead people, yeah. Responsibility, process of influencing people to achieve goals, beautiful. Lead, motivate, and guide people. Art of polishing, beautiful, beautiful. Guiding towards a goal, marvelous. Ability to influence, at the heart of leadership, exactly. Leader is an enabler, wow. Goal congruence, excellent. We have some commitments, excellent, very good. Ability to influence, repeat, yes, influence is one of the central ability. Okay, excellent. Someone who has taken other around, the source of inspiration, beautiful. Leads and influence others toward a set goal, guiding force, inspiration, visionary person. Excellent. A beacon, a hope, one who rules heart. Beautiful. That's very poetic. Create leaders. Oh, wow. Wow, man. Now that you are writing, the question is, when you know what is a leader, what do you really want to learn? That's a major question then. You all have leadership experience. So now you can see, we all have definitions of leadership. We all have a vision of a leadership. We all have in our life experience of a leader. We all have practiced leadership in our life. Then why this workshop on personal leadership? We all have definitions. We all know what is leadership. Let me share my definitions. And as you people all highlighted, it's a process of influence. It's inspiration, motivation, direction to achieve goals. Another definition of leadership, a very bookish definition, is the influencing process. Leadership is a process where one person influences another in order to achieve the objectives through change. So when we look at this definition, the following points come out. Leadership is about influence. Leadership is about people. Leadership is about objectives. Leadership is about change, and leadership is about a relationship of leader and follower. Now, if this is leadership, then what is personal leadership? Personal leadership is applying the concepts of leadership for yourself to develop yourself into a leader. Personal leadership is the leadership of the self. It is the concepts and principles of leadership applied to your own life. Should help you lead your life with the principles of leadership. And believe me, one of the most difficult things I have experienced in my life is to become a leader. And you will see very soon why. People become manager. It's very easy to become manager, but it's really, really difficult to become a leader. We all know the definitions. We all have experienced leadership, either in form of self-leadership, or we may have seen political or religious leaders working. We may have seen our friends, our colleagues, our bosses acting as a leader. But to practice and become a leader on your own account, it's really a challenge. And that is why this workshop, this seminar, is arranged to help you go through that. Whatever I'm going to say and I'm going to share will be my personal account, how I moved through this process of leadership, how I helped many acquire the position of leadership, and how I have seen many relinquish the position of leadership because they fail when the time arrives to act as a leader. So personal leadership is the self-confident ability to crystallize your thinking and establish an exact direction for your own life, to commit yourself to moving in that direction, and then to take determined action to acquire, to accomplish, become whatever you identify as the ultimate goal in your life. So personal leadership is your ability to become confident, to have an ability to identify a purpose, a direction in your life, is your ability to commit yourself to something that you feel it's important. It's your ability to accomplish. Yes, we all experience leadership every moment of our life. Yet, this is a choice. Leadership is a choice. It is not thrust upon you. It's a choice that you have to take. You have a choice to say no to leadership, become a manager. Well, manager is not a bad position to be, sorry to say. But leadership is something different. It requires you to change your mental thoughts, your belief systems, the way you act. So I'm inviting you to take this journey. with me on this journey of personal leadership. Remember, leadership is a behavior. Leadership is not a style. Everybody has a style. There are thousands of styles of leadership. Leadership is a choice of behavior that you display when you interact with people. As I said, leadership is inside out. Leadership occurs when you interact with people. So it's a behavior that what we are deciding. What is meaning by behavior, we will see very shortly. We all have pictures of leaders. We all have seen leaders in our life. I would like you to identify various characteristics of leader. 4, 5, 6 characteristics of leader. Write down what do you think are the characteristics of leaders. Visionary, committed, charismatic, communicator, motivator, assertive, unselfish, courage, visionary, excellent, positive, honest, committed, wow. Initiator, directive, seeing others seeing what others can't, beautiful, good teacher, goal-oriented, risk taker, motivator, persuasive, observer, visionary. Yes, many people are saying visionary, risk taker, role model, consultative, integrity, confident, executor, positive, listener. So we attribute all the positives to leadership, right? So all the positive words we attribute to leadership. Great. Thank you. So research has highlighted certain core characteristics of leaders. I am sharing few with you. As you can see on your screen, leadership, a leader has courage, leader has vision, leader is committed, leader is a change agent, leader knows how to use power. Very, very important aspect of leadership. It's what influencing is about. He's a team builder, he's a communicator, he's an influencer, yeah, and he's a problem solver. So we attribute many positive things to a leader. If we make the list, so almost all the positive words will be associated with the leader. Well, we cannot have all the positive words in our life, in everything, but there are certain core things that we need to develop in ourselves to be a leader. I want you to, on your papers, on your computers, I don't want an answer for this one. I'm giving you a short questionnaire, and I would like you to rate yourself, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the maximum, on these attributes, these characteristics. How much do you give yourself on courage? Are you courageous? Give yourself marks and honest. If you want to learn leadership, try to be honest with yourself. Are you courageous? Do you really have a vision? Are you committed in your life to your goals? Are you a change agent? Do you know the art of using power? Have you built a team? Are you a team builder? If you have a team, do you develop your followers? Are you a good communicator? Are you good at influencing others? Are you a leader? Now look at these questions and think on them. If you have given yourself 9 or 10 on any one of the characteristics, you really have to think again. And if you are confident, wow, congratulations. At least you have achieved a significant milestone in your life in at least 1 or 2 dimensions of the most important part of leaderships. My workshop will be focused on various aspects of this question. We will discuss how to become courageous. We will discuss how do you develop vision. We will discuss how do you become a change agent. We will not be discussing the use of power or developing followers. We will not be discussing influencing, which is a very, very detailed part of presenting. But we will surely be looking at the end of the workshop, your answer to, yes, I am a leader, or I am promised to become a leader. That will be a very important dimension that we will be looking at. By the way, if I just want to have a quick reaction from you to question number 2, do you have a vision? How many of you say yes? Yes, of course, is a very interesting. There is no such thing as of course. Wow, all of you have, most of you have vision. Wow, what fantastic. Vision for what? Excellent. Yes, exactly. No, you don't have to think yes, it's a no. When you say I think yes, it's a no. 8 out of 10, yes, that's a vision. Yes. Okay. Maybe yes, Zubair bin Said, maybe yes, maybe there's no maybe, there's a yes or there's a no. Either you have a vision or you don't have one. No, I think Zishan, I think the people who follow you can define no. Do you have? If you have, only then the people who follow you can have it. If you don't have it, how can people who follow can have it? So it's the first thing, you should have a vision. At times I lack courage, but most likely all time okay. Excellent, Abdul Mutahalif. Yes, courage is a moving curve. It should be high most of the time. At times it may go down, but ideally it should remain high on all times. But we all are humans, and yes, we give this thing to us. We at times our courage may go low. To be CFO in my company, Zada Saleh, that's your vision, that's your goal. Yes, I'm a good influencer, but need to work on it as a good communicator. Sorry, communication and influencing are one and the same thing. Influencing is a type of communication, special type of communication. Yes, Sharik, you are right. Vision involves anticipating impacts, but vision involves a lot more. To become a business leader, yes, it's a vision. You are a change agent, Muhammad Mudassir. Excellent. Let's move forward. So remember, if you want to understand leadership, these are the few points where you need to learn. Leadership is a journey of learning. Starting from being courageous to your estimation of you being a leader, you have to learn a lot. Each topic is so deep. There's so much literature, books written on each topic. For example, change agent. How do you manage change? How do you identify change? Leadership is all about change. How easy it is for you to accept change? In which areas of life do you accept change? Are you capable of changing your own behaviors, your own thought patterns, or own habits? How frequently you change? Compare yourself, your today with yourself 1 year ago. Have you really changed? Changing our clothes is very easy. Changing our mobile phones may be more easier than changing our clothes. But changing our thought patterns, changing our habits, changing our behaviors require a lot of conscious efforts. Recall the last change that you have created in your personality, in your thought pattern. What was the last change? Was it easy? Change is the most difficult aspect of our life. Because consciously, we are so comfortable with us, we do not realize I need to change even my tone of voice. I'm so comfortable with certain words that I keep on using in my everyday life. I'm so comfortable with the way I sleep, I do not even change my sleeping habits, my sleeping styles. I'm so comfortable with my life that I may not sometimes even change my friends. Yes, sometimes we need to change our friends. Especially when we realize our friends are dragging us down instead of pulling us up. At times, because of our friendships and our society, we develop into bad habits. Yes, we need to change if we are conscious. And change never happens if we do not have a vision for ourselves, for our society, for our organizations, for our family. But what is a vision? It's an art. We will discuss. So yes, change is one of the most important aspects. And it's easy to criticize others, they do not change. And it is easy to point out to others, organizations and everything, oh, they are changing or they are not changing. But remember, dinosaurs couldn't change. They die. Ability to identify what to change and how to change, and having the courage to change and having the commitment to change is one of the most important aspects of leadership. How many of you will rate yourself as a person who changes easily, who adopts change frequently? Can I see your response?
A very interesting comment in the meanwhile.
Yeah, sure.
To respond. This is Sharik. He's saying if leadership has become so important, that there's so many trainings available, why is it still a mere soft skill and not a complete study at a university level?
It is a complete study. There are PhDs in leadership. Good. Sharik, remember, leadership, there are two aspects of leadership. Knowing the theory of leadership. does not make you a leader. There are people doing PhDs in leadership, leadership in education, leadership in business, leadership in here and leadership there. Everywhere people have added the word leadership. But unfortunately, they have not identified how do we develop leaders. That is the biggest challenge of leadership. How do you develop them? And in developing leader, developing the mindset of the people, the ability to accept change, be the change agent, not only accept, but being the change agent, it's very, very challenging. On your personal level, you can accept change. As I can see, I change, adapt it. It depends on what we are trying to accomplish. Yes, we all are adaptive to change, but the challenge is at leadership is to be a change agent, to propagate, to identify, to stand in front of the people who are resisting change, and then influence them, convince them, motivate them, lead them. That's why people are afraid of leadership. They do not practice leadership. Wrong behaviors must be changed, but who will identify which behavior is wrong? Okay, let's move forward. Yes, just a minute. This Waqas Ahmed Jabal, you mean that to accept change as well as bring about the change in others? Yes, this is what leadership is about. Or you can only influence others and convince others about change if you practice that change. If you are only lip servicing that change, but you are not demonstrating that behavior of change in yourself, how do you think people will follow? The pain of change you must bear, so that when others are changing, you can share your experience with them, you can console with them, you can motivate them, remember, and you can tell them, yes, this is a change pain, but bear with me, everything will be all right. So remember, the process of leadership is a process of change. And we will have a lot more to say. Control of emotion, Abdul Qadir. Emotions are the most important part of leadership. Yes, you have to control, but manage. Control does not mean you do not show. Without showing emotions, there is no leadership. But out of control emotions are not part of leadership. Leadership is making people emotional about something. If you are not emotional, how can you be leader? If you do not are passionate about something, you cannot be a leader. And passionate is emotion. Right? Okay, let's move forward. Thank you for your participation. So, we will be talking about the following things. How do we develop courage? How do we set direction, the vision? How to become committed? We will be discussing these things for a few of these things. So, we have answered the first part of the question, what is leadership? So, we have understood leadership is about others. Leadership is about change. Leadership is about self. Leadership is about motivation, is about influencing, is about goal, is about vision. So that takes us to the second question. Can leadership be learned? So what do you think? Answer this question. Can leadership be learned?
All right, so on your screens, you will be able to see a poll question that states, can leadership be learned? And the possible answers are, yes, it can be learned, or it cannot be. So just yes and no.
Learn means leaders are born. Cannot be learned means leaders are born. Learned means, yes, leaders are not born, we can develop leaders.
See the results from here. There are about 86% saying yes, it can be learned.
Okay.
14% saying it cannot be. We can get them 15 more seconds for more people to respond, but the trend seems like 85% to 15%.
Yeah.
Close.
Kitne aage responses? How many?
About 40% people have voted.
Give 10 seconds.
Alright, 10 more seconds. More people need to respond. So anyone who has not voted yet, please very quickly vote.
How many have voted?
500. 500. And stop.
Okay.
Sharing the results. So at the moment, the results that we've got, you'll be able to see on the screen. 83% said yes, leadership can be learned. 17% thought no.
17% says no. Now, the question that we need to ask those 17% who are saying it no, from where the leader will come and when will it come? Are they going to wait for a leader? Are they going to wait for the savior? That means in their life, they believe they have no control. They cannot change their own environment. This was a major question in leadership research. Rather, the first question in leadership research, can leadership be learned? So the theory, there are two main theories of leadership. One is the great man or trait theory, and the other is the behavioral theory. The other theory that is very famous these days is the situational leadership theory. Let's look at trait theory and a great man theory. Trait theory discusses about leadership is a certain personality type. It's an inborn characteristics, and it distinguishes great people, leaders from non-leaders. And the proponents of this theory, they say all the famous journals, the kings and the queens and all the political leaders, they say, look, they have these attributes, these traits, they are this bad, they are so good in communicators, all these things. So they identify the traits. And they say those who have the trait, they will become a leader. Similarly, it's just like great man theory. Trait assumes inborn abilities in the people. And they say because of their bloodline, kings, the son of a king can only become a king because it's in the bloodline. We see this theory being practiced in many of the underdeveloped countries, where one son after another takes the position in the government, be it a political party or be it a kingship. They say because a leader is born in a great family, so they have the right to lead. So this is what trait theory. So it discusses certain personality styles. But many people in our countries, we must have seen, possess those capabilities, but they do not rise to the position of leadership. Similarly, the great man theory, this was one of the earliest theory that said great leaders are always born, not made. And they are always this more or less Greek mythological and journals of the armies and the kings, they promoted this thing that leaders are born. And the theory represents, the name, the great man theory represents this thing, that it's a definition of leadership where people were born to noble families and by virtue of their rights, their birthright, their leadership was their birthright. These theories take the power away from people. It does not give power back to normal common people. The common people never had the right to lead. They cannot challenge. They are subjected to their own misery and they are asked to live in their miserable lives. People who believe the leader is out there and they are in search of a leader, they live in a life of concern where they have no influence on their life, they cannot change. Whatever is happening is written in fate, and they live and they die. And they do nothing to change their lives. These early theories represented the mindset of humanity at that time, but it was challenged. They said, no, this is not right. We have ability to decide, to take control, to change whatever we want. That gave birth to behavioral theories. Now these theories are in vogue these days. Trait theories are still important. They identify the important traits. And remember, although some of the traits are inborn, but most of the traits that can be identified and we can develop some things, some part of it, if not all. But if we do not have all the traits, it makes no difference because we might have other traits. Everybody has certain traits. So some traits, if somebody favors, there are other traits that are more important at other times. So every one of us has certain traits. So behavioral theories believe that all leaders are made, they are not born. It's an outcome of education, it's an outcome of training. So leadership can be taught, leaders are trained. The behavioral theory focuses on actions of leaders, not on their inborn abilities. So if you want to learn leadership, you can if you know what to focus upon, if you know what to learn, if you have the right ingredients, right direction, right teacher for you, you can become a leader. That's the power of these behavioral theories. Before I move to this video, just give me 1 minute to highlight one more theory, the situational leadership. It's not on the slide here. Situational leadership simply highlights that leadership styles change with the situation. It depends upon the level of your follower, the developmental level of your follower. If your follower is in the initial stages, you choose a different style, and if your followers are highly developed, very motivated, you change your leadership style. It's just like what our parents practice at their home. When a child is newborn, we behave differently, but when the son or daughter becomes adult, start living his or her own life, we behave differently. So this changes in behavior is at the heart of the situational leadership. But how to behave, that's what we are going to talk about. Now I'm going to show you a clip from a movie, Braveheart. Look at that clip, and then we will discuss what is this book about. Listen to the speech very carefully of the leader, and then we will discuss. That's the video. You go ahead. Speech or leadership. Okay. Yes. You're in speech. Speech. Sorry, just bear with me. Now that you have seen this clip, this is one of my most favorite clips in leadership. It highlights so many different aspects of leadership. Now, let's analyze this clip. There are some great man leaders, the kings and the lords that are on the horse, who think they are leaders by virtue of their position, their heritage, and all that thing. And they have gathered, they believe they have gathered all that army because of them. And on the other hand, there is a leader, emerging leader, who is a commoner, who has learned the art of leadership. Then at the same time, you see these leaders, these great man theory-based leaders, they have their own agendas. On the other hand, the other leader who is a challenger has its own agenda. So whenever there is a leadership, there is a conflict of interest. The people are gathered here to change, for a change. But they are not willing, they are not committed because the leaders are not committed. They want to run away because they believe their leaders are not trustworthy. On the other hand, all of them have gathered on a call of this William Wallace, whom they trust. Here you also see the people believing in the great man theory and the trade theory. They say William Wallace is 7 feet tall. That's what trade theory is all about. And we have seen the practice of this trade theory in South Africa, where there was a white man rule. Only white man can rule. And Nelson Mandela rose to the challenge. No, that's not right. The trades, this type of trades, do not give you the right of leadership. That's why the democracy in the world flourished, because they say leadership is not the birthright of kings and queens. Here you also see people, their behaviors, motivation levels, their challenge levels. Here you also see people's objections to change and their willingness to die for the cause. Here you also see the influencing style of leadership, how William Wallace addresses their concerns and fears. Here you also see the power of communication, how a leader motivates his followers. This brief clip from a historical movie reveals various aspects of leadership. Although this setting is a war setting, but remember, when we talk about leadership, when we talk about change, we are talking about war within ourselves, with our system, with our people. And it means motivating people towards that change, asking them to sacrifice, but sacrificing first your own self. It means standing in front of the old traditions and challenging them towards a new tradition. But at the same time, did you hear the vision, what he said, William Wallace? Why the people got ready to die? What was the vision? What was the point that converted the people who were fleeing that field come back and fight? What was that point? Can you recall? What was that point? Yes, it was the point when he linked them with the vision, the reason of their life. Dying in your beds many years from now, but will you be willing to come back and give one chance to freedom? Will you die for freedom? That's what you yearn. That's what we all want in our life, freedom. We don't want slave. We might be slave to our own wishes, our systems. Leadership is getting freedom from those chains of our wishes, our systems, our thoughts, our behaviors of life. It's about changing in life. We all are William Wallace. if we want to be, if we choose to be. And remember, he is a commoner who learned the art of leadership. Critically analyze again this video and realize what people were thinking at that moment in the field. Had you been there, what would you do? What is the thinking frame of the lords? They were looking for a negotiation to do what? To gain more land. What would you do? So leadership requires understanding the political aspect of every person, the thought pattern, the behavior pattern. And leadership requires changing the behaviors of the people. So leadership is not an easy thing. It's a dynamic thing. It needs continuous learning and movement. So behavioral leadership assumes that leadership is a competency that can be learned. And when we use this word of competency in HR, in strategy, it means having the knowledge, having the skills, and ability to convert that knowledge and skills into behavior. Behavior is again at the focal point. You may have a knowledge, but if you cannot use that knowledge to convert that into a behavior, you are not competent. And if we look at organizational strategy literature, organizations compete on the basis of their competence. If you have the ability to compete, you can compete. It's about the knowledge, it's about the skills, but most importantly, can you create that behavior? Look at that video again, recall that video again. He changed the behavior. They all had the knowledge and the skill to fight, but their behavior was, we will run away. Their skills and knowledge are not useful if they are not converted into behaviors. For example, you may have a knowledge about driving, that a car has tires, has gears, has brake, has steering, and you may even get the skills to apply the brake, to change the gears. But behaviors of a good driver are also part of your driving test. Do you approach people, your road, with the behavior of safety? If you do not display the right behavior, you may not get the license. So leadership is about your ability to generate behavior in your own self and in the people that are around you. We will see in the list of behaviors, there are many behaviors, but I'm more interested right now in the knowledge and the skills. Behaviors will come later. So personal leadership means developing in yourself at the first part, the capabilities, the knowledge and the skills. Literature divides leadership into 3 levels. Leading self, that is personal leadership. Once you demonstrate that you have the ability to lead yourself, organizations give you a position whereby you lead others. That's called managerial level of leadership. You could be a middle manager or a senior level manager, or the first line manager, or even a supervisor. Wherever a position in an organization or in a life where you are leading others, people are reporting to you. That's managerial leadership. When you perform at this level, you move to the higher level of strategic leadership, where you take control of the organizations, you develop their vision, you identify their change agendas, you develop organization, you craft the culture of organization, you identify the competence of the organizations. You lead the organizations into change. In managerial leadership, you implement the agenda of change. In strategic leadership, you become the change agent, you identify the vision, you create that visions. So at that level, this is a strategic level. A still higher level that I have not highlighted here is public level leadership, which is one step ahead. But it's a similar form of strategic leadership, but at the public level. So our workshop is focused on personal leadership aspect. Before we move further, any comment or question that you would like to ask? You can write, you have 1 minute to write a question that regarding the last. Yes, Fahad. What link can there be between leadership and environment? Very, very important link. You cannot groom leaders without education. Leadership is all about education. That's a very interesting question. When you are doing a job, you become coward. How do you overcome that to become entrepreneur or etc.? Mohammed Usman. Yes, we will be answering this question very shortly, and this is an important area that we must address. No, not true. Is it true that leader can always be a good manager? No. There are people who are very good leader but not good manager. There are people who are good manager but not good leader. There are people who are good leaders and good managers. So there are three different things. Yes, fear. Muhammad Fahim, we will discuss fear very shortly. And I will give you certain tips on how to become fear. There are also questions on cowardness. This is the same as fear. How the learnings can be applied? Yes, if you understand the process and the ingredients, you can learn and apply them in your life. I have done that. Personality clashes, yes, there are always personality, but leaders try not to go into those areas. They manage those personality clashes. That's the art. You deal with different personalities, you don't create a clash. How to recognize your hidden leadership skills, Faiza Habib? You have to look at your life and you have to identify various experiences of your life. You have to take on new challenges to identify what do you really enjoy. That's a good question, Muhammad Atif. How to change a subordinate who are in the retirement age and not ready to change? That's a challenge. We need to change their behaviors, and we need to, just like this video clip, people were not ready to change. You have to convince them why should they change. What is in it for them? Why do you want them to change? What will they gain from changing? They are at the retirement age. So if you have to really convince them, if you do not have a vision for them, they will not change. If you do not have an agenda that benefits them, they will not change. They have lived their life in the same format. That's what I'm saying. Change is not an easy thing, especially if you are old.
There's a very famous case of Allied Bank, if you know.
Yeah.
They had known that their average age of the staff was about 45 to 47 years. They had to bring it down.
Yes.
So if senior people don't change,
they will have to change. Fahim, I've asked a very good question. What if someone has not been given a chance of being leader in job role? I'm sorry, Fahim. Life gives chance of leadership to everybody. It's your choice to accept that or realize it. Right from your birth till your death, you will be given chances of leadership. If you deny continuously, yes, only then it will be taken away from you and will be given to someone else. Recall your life, you will find out. If you are not currently developing yourself the abilities. Yes, Fahad, in an organization, yes, education or leadership creates awareness about change, importance of change, and it motivates people to take the leadership role of change. Okay, Asan Shabazz, if your role is not of leadership in nature with the organization, how do you demonstrate? You demonstrate at your own level of taking initiative and doing what is required by your level, personal leadership. Only then you will be promoted to higher level. What if your boss is not a leader, but you are very good? Make him your follower. But don't make him feel that he's following you. How to prepare people, Muhammad Usman? Give them vision. Give them a reason to change.
That's it? Pouring in.
Oh, pouring in, yes. Pouring in. Just a minute. One person said, who is he? Questions? My boss is a loser. Where is that?
I just got it.
My boss is a loser, Waqas Ahmed. I'm not. What to do? Make him win. Make your boss a winner. Sacrifice your win for him. Make him a winner. Don't tell him he's a loser. Nobody wants to be a loser, especially if he's your boss.
So statements like, this is the kind leadership of you, sir, because of
yes.
one.
Help him become a leader. Okay, Daniel Sabda. What if I find something being done wrong in the organization but I do not have the powers, like there are communication lines to do everything? See what can you do. Sometimes you can raise whistleblowing. This is called whistleblowing of an organization. If you can, by either directly or indirectly, can you identify? I know a clerk in a bank who raised the issue of time being wasted by GMs in their meetings. So he raised the issue to the president and the policy was changed. So yes, everybody can impact and identify, but it depends upon how do you identify. Okay, let's move forward. So good. So many questions. Keep these questions coming up. We will be able to answer few, but not all. But questions are the most important part of leadership.
We have a break in 5 minutes. So whenever you want to take it now and.
Okay, there are people who are saying they want a break for one reason or another. I think let's take a 5 minutes break.
15 minutes. How are we doing on coverage?
It's okay. Okay.
You can take a 15 minutes break if you want to give them some work in the meanwhile.
Okay. What we'll do, we'll take a break in 5 minutes. We are going to do. I'll give you some work, and then we will take the break. Okay. We are starting the module now. How to develop yourself into a leader. This area is what this whole workshop is all about. Then we will be discussing know yourself, develop your values, developing courage, developing personal change agenda, developing your vision and goal, knowing what motivates you, and know your role model. This is our workshop. So what we will do, we will take a 15 minutes break, and in the meanwhile, what I want you to do, Okay, sorry. First, these are the areas that are involved in leadership, but we will not be discussing them for this workshop because that's take each point is a whole new area. It's take 2 to 3 days for each area. These are the few leadership styles. There are many. Authoritarian, participative, laissez-faire, transactional, and transfer. These are famous leadership styles. But remember, all of us has a leadership style. And he may have 2 or 3. You need to identify which is your favorite, but again, to become a leader, you need to master at least 6. And I mean it. To become a leader, you need to master at least 5 to 6. You have to master at least all these 5. For example, in authoritarian style is when you have all the power and you take decision. In participative, you discuss with your people, but you take decision. In laissez-faire, you give the authority to take decision to your followers. In transactional, it's like authoritative and participative where you have a relationship, interaction, but transformational is about change. It is about charisma. So you have to practice and master all of these styles. So a good leader is not about one style. If you measure your style normally, I have my experience, 90 or to 80 to 90% of the people say we are participative without knowing what is participative and how to practice. There could be people who say, oh, my style is laissez-faire, freehand. Yes, but do you know what does that mean? Is it good or is it bad? So we all have leadership styles. Even if you give to a A-level or 8th grader student, he will have a leadership style. So issue is not what is your style, issue is do you know how to do this style, the behaviors required in this style. These are certain behaviors. There are many behaviors of leadership. If you search web, you will find out many behaviors of leadership. I have highlighted most important that I have come across in my corporate trainings. These are the most important behaviors that corporate organizations want their people to show. Result-oriented, service-oriented, solution-oriented, learning-oriented, interpersonal savvy, embarrassing flexibility, tolerating ambiguity. So in next workshops, we will be discussing 1 or 2 of these behaviors. What do we mean by these behaviors? So right now, what I want you to do in this 15-minute break is to write. Just a minute, let me go, then we will come back to this slide. We will come back. I want you to identify your strengths and areas of improvement of your life. I want you to write where did you use these strengths? What are your strengths, your success? What has helped you achieve your success in your life? Make a list as long as possible, 5, 6, 10, 20. Make a list of your strengths and areas of improvement. And if possible, make at least 10 areas of improvement. That will be fantastic. It will be very easy to identify 10 strengths. But my challenge to you, make a list of 10 areas of improvement. And help me understand, how do you understand the achievements of your life? Do you really understand what has made you successful in your life so far? Which I believe all of you are successful in their own sphere. So let's take a 15 minutes break. It's 4:30 here. We will be back in 15 minutes as per your time. And when we arrive, we will discuss your successes and your areas of improvement, strengths and areas of improvement. Thank you. Let's take a break. Okay, ji. Welcome back after the break. Hope you're relaxed. Breaks are very, very necessary. It refreshes us. So we left at that point, know your strengths and areas of improvement. Remember, we must know, and
there is what you need to show.
few of you have shared their areas of strengths and areas of improvement. First of all, let me ask this question to you. How easy was it to identify areas of improvement? Please respond. How easy it was for you to identify areas of improvement? Yes. Most of us really feel it difficult to identify areas of improvement. What we mostly focus on the areas of strength. As you can see, many people, they are finding it difficult. But if you reflect, on leadership, it's about change. So change means improving. So if you do not know what are you going to change, you will still be working with your current existing strengths, which are irrelevant, maybe old and dated versions of your you. You want a new you 2.0, and you 2.0 means having a different competencies, different capabilities, different strengths, new strengths. For example, one of you said you being a CEO 1 month was a huge achievement. What skills and capabilities do a CEO require to be successful? What are your weaknesses as a CEO? If you are performing well at one position in the given circumstances and you are promoted to a next level, what will help you or what will stop you? Will your weakness help you achieve your new successes, or will it stop you? You may have to let go of your certain strengths, or you may have to develop new strengths. Okay. Just a minute, one thing, one very important question, one very important comment that I just saw, and I would like to highlight. Imran Khan said, it is difficult unless support from environment. Mr. Imran, if environment is stronger than you, then what is the meaning of leadership? Leadership means you overpower your environment. The hurdles and the shackles that are holding you back, you challenge them, you break them. So if you have a belief that environment is there to stop you, then you need to learn leadership. Leadership challenges environment. It's not strong. Okay, let's move. Let me go back a little. Knowing yourself is about also your personality, the traits. And remember, we said the trait theory tells what attributes do you have. These are important. Mind it, these are very important. You must know your basic traits. But keep in mind, no trait is bad. I have given you a link of a site which tests your personality, the Big Five. And by the way, this Big Five personality trait has been found to correlate very highly and positively with leadership. This seemypersonality.com will check your personality. You go there on your own free time. and check your personality. Let me give you a brief overview of the 5 personality types that are very commonly found in the world, and they are found to correlate very high with leadership. Because all of us have personality traits, remember that. And they are no negative, good or bad, they are all traits. How we use them is the question. First trait could be openness to experience. It is how open to new experiences you are. Are you curious? Are you willing to try new things? For example, if you want to try yourself and check yourself out, when you go to a restaurant, do you try out new dishes or you stick to the old? When new designs of clothes come in, do you change your designs or you stick to old? It's very easy for girls to say, yeah, we change, no issues. They are open to experience, yes. But boys, on the other hand, may not be. But some do. So openness to experience is what leadership is all about, creating new things and making ourselves comfortable to that. So there are people with low change. They are more towards traditional, right? But the people who are high, they like to change something new in their life. Second is conscientiousness. Very, very important part, both as a manager and as a leader. Conscientiousness refers to your self-discipline. How much do you control how deep you are in managing, in details, in arranging things? So how you plan, do you live your planned life? Look at your work. Do you go on surface and do not go into details? Do you overlook mistakes? If yes, it's not planned, too much planned, then you are low on that. And if you have a very structured, look at your wardrobe. A person with high conscientiousness will have a very tidy wardrobe. Look at his table, look at his work. So, conscientiousness represents self-discipline, a very, very important aspect, both as a manager and as a leader. Very, very important aspect. A most common but least understood, I believe, this is my opinion, I could be 100% wrong in that. This extroversion, people attribute very high marks to extroversion, which represents when you like to meet new people, you go in party, you become a life of party. Opposite of extroversion is introvert, and unfortunately, many people associate negativity with introversion, which is the wrong way to say. The major difference between extroversion and introversion is their source of energy. Yes, I'm saying the difference between extroversion and introversion is their source of energy. What does that mean? Extrovert get energy from the environment. When they are down, they like to talk to people. They like noise. They like gathering. So their cell is outside their body. While introverts get energy from within, inside, in them. They may not require a social interaction to be motivated. They enjoy their solitude. And remember, as a leader, at times you have to live as an introvert. Because you need to ponder and reflect on your own self. That's a time when you need to act as an introvert. And when the time is right, you will move into extroversion. But if you are an introvert, don't say negative things about yourself. Oh, I'm an introvert, I cannot be a leader, leaders are extroverts. Not true. Yes, a leader needs to interact with people. Leader needs to go out. Leader needs to talk out. Yes, that's true. But at the same time, his internal motivation is at the core of leadership. So introversion, if you're an introvert, that's a strength. So is extroversion. So these people, be very careful if you're introvert and extrovert, both are very strong. But extroversion is more associated with leadership because it's an outgoing. Then agreeableness. People who agree very easily, they cannot be assertive, they cannot challenge. But at the same time, agreeableness in terms of relationships, it's very positive trait. People look at them favorably. So one should be on a good scale of agreeableness. Disagreeable individuals are self-interesting, they do not like others, and they are unconcerned about others. So agreeableness traits are important. The last is neuroticism. Neuroticism is emotions. People who are easily motivated move to tears. They feel like crying, getting angry, upset, shouts. Emotional control, when they lose their emotional control, they score low in neuroticism, and that's bad. That's bad. But having emotions and control of emotions is very important. A leader without emotions is, I'm sorry, he could be anything but a good leader. But flowing in emotions, getting out of control of emotions, no, that's not all. So it is ability to control emotions, emotional stability. We all must know, we all must be emotionally intelligent. So neuroticism is about that. So go to that page, seemypersonality.com. That's a free web page that I've given you a resource where you can check your personality. It gives it a detailed breakup format for you to understand. And from there you can identify which trait to improve. For example, you find out you are low on extroversion or you low on conscientiousness. No problem. You can change them. Yes, personalities can be changed and they do change over time. Research has proven that our personality change because of the external environment, because of our experiences, because of the accidents in life, because of our job roles. Even you might have experienced change of personality who got married. It happens, yes. So once you know your personality, it will aid you in developing your leadership style, in developing your leadership abilities, in knowing you. And on top of it, when you add to it your strengths, if you're an extrovert, that's a strength. If you're an introvert, that's a very major strength. I encourage people, CEOs, to be introvert in their life because when they are at the top, they have to visualize. They have to spend time with themselves. And if you look at leaders, both religious and political, and especially religious, if you look at Buddha, if you look in Hinduism, if you look in Islam, if you look in Christianity, you will find that being alone is an important part of self-development. That's introversion. Remember, butterfly is a caterpillar, pupa. When it's pupa, it's introverted. It closes itself with the shell. And when it's ready to fly, it becomes a butterfly, it breaks that shell. So introversion is an important part of life. Cherish it. It's important. When you focus on your strengths, don't only look at your big achievements like your grades or your promotions. Have you traveled? Do you travel frequently? Do you read? Can you identify your strengths in your travels? Are you adventure oriented or you are risk averse? What sports do you play? Do you do debates? All activities that you are involved in your life reveal your strengths. For example, I am a trekker. I love to go to mountains, jungles. I spend time over there. It tells a lot about me to myself, how I behave with my fellows, how I react to the pressures. I read a lot, and reading tells me my strength, my areas of improvement. For me, my areas of improvement are as important as my strengths. I have a list of areas of improvement that I'm improving continuously. Let me share one thing. One of you shared one in a comment that I'm not assertive. A beautiful comment. Beautiful. No. Assertiveness. Most people may not even heard this word, or somebody might have heard the word assertiveness. Do you know this is a type of a communication? It's a communication style. There are 3 styles of communication in the world, majorly. There are other as well, but 3 major styles in the world. Aggressive communication style, assertive communication style, and passive communication are 3 styles. Leadership style is not aggressive, it's not passive, it's assertive. What do you know about assertiveness? How do you become assertive? Are you good at assertiveness? Learn communication styles. Are you good in written communication? Can you write one paragraph coherently? Can you write one letter coherently? What rules of writing do you follow? Do you follow 7 C's of communication? They are very important. They are not bookish, they are very important. Is your writing concise, clear, objective oriented? These are all areas when you explore yourself, you put yourself in positions, you understand that you have areas of improvement. They are so long that you will fill papers and papers and papers. While your areas of strength, you find out, oh, I have very few areas of strength. And that's a good news. No, because you are becoming aware of how do you want to go. And we will talk more about it. And remember, recall when you were down, you were sad, you were lonely, you were demotivated. How did you motivate yourself? Or was there somebody else? If there was somebody else, he is a strength that you have. A strength could not be it's not only internal, it's also external. Your relationships are your strength. Look at your friends. They are your strength. Look at your network. That leadership is all about network. A leader's strength is its network. Know your network power. So strengths are not only internal, they are also in your environment. Where do you live? With whom do you interact? So make a list. That list should be on your table in front of you all the time. Your strengths, and keep on adding your strengths. Each experience reflect, and at night reflect on your day and identify what new strength did you discover about yourself or about your friends even. You might discover a new strength from your friend. I know a friend of mine. He went to this trekking with his friend. He had never gone to mountains and he has never trekked in his life. So his friend said, let's go to trekking. He said, I've never done that. He said, no, don't worry, come with me. Let's have fun. So they went to northern areas of Pakistan. When they came back, this person who was a senior government official, very senior government official, he resigned from his post, bought a donkey, a camp, and a porter, and went on to a trek which was 6 months long. Came back, wrote a book, had his first photograph exhibition, and later on became one of the famous travelers of the world. He discovered his strength. He discovered his love. What's your love? What's your passion? What do you enjoy doing? These are very important questions. When we talk about strength, identify where have you used that strength. That's very, very important. Identify the situation where you have used that strength. The more situations you can recall, the core is that strength. And remember, you cannot become a leader if you cannot identify the strengths. This is the building block of your leadership. Identify your strengths and areas of improvement. So, once you know who you are, only then the journey of leadership begins. The second most important question in this journey is question number 2, your values. This is where the leadership test lies. This is at the heart of leadership. Much, much more important than vision. Much, much more important than anything in the leadership. This concept of values is at the core. Values are what is important to you. What is important to you? Have you ever thought about it? Because importance is what makes us leader. Leader stands on issues of importance. They communicate to people what is important. What is important for you? What are your values? Have you really asked yourself these questions? To my knowledge, when I conduct workshops, people are not really aware of the concept of values, or they are not even aware about what is their value. Right? Let's look at values. Values are the principles or standards of behavior. Values are translated into behaviors about what is important in life. I'm showing you 2 clips where first is about a personal value. The second is about value for a nation. Leadership can start with your personal values and can move into values for a nation. Recall all the leaders, all their mission was about some value. Nelson Mandela was about value, freedom. Gandhi, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Churchill, name any leader. Fundamental thing was value. Martin Luther King, value. I'll share with you 2 clips. One, personal value, and then you'll hear a small clip of Martin Luther King, value. In this video, the private said, I'm not going to carry a gun because that's a promise that I've done to myself. That was a value. But from army point of view, carrying a gun was very important. That was a value. So what's the issue? If you have never identified a value in your life, or even if you have a value, so what's the challenge in having a value? Why it is so important in leadership? We have never realized we might have certain values. But like somebody said, birthdays are like belly buttons, we all have them, who needs them? So what's the importance of values in leadership? We all have values, don't we? But the question is not that simple. When you have a value, you need to practice that value. And while practicing that value, you may suffer a lot. Like in this video. Look at the video. Same boy who refused to carry weapon is now beaten by his colleagues because his platoon is being punished for his value. The value that he has. His platoon is being punished. So let's have the second video.
Which one?
Meeting, which one? Play. Okay. Now, you see in this clip, he was getting a beating because of his value. Can you recall any leader who was treated unfairly because of his value system? Can you? Why was Nelson Mandela put in jail? Because of value system. Remember, your life is all about values that you practice. Remember, leadership is about values that you hold high. Values are the most important part of your life. When we make commitment to something, when we make something important, and that important touches the life of the people, people change, world change. I'm going to share with you a clip on leadership when a person decided in Amazons, in the jungles, how he changed the life of the people who are around him when he made something, an important decision, what is the most important thing for his people in that life. Second video. No, it's rainy.
Okay. Moment from here, which one's?
Amazon.
I'm going to talk about some of my discoveries around the world through my work. These are not discoveries of planets or new technologies or science. They're discoveries of people and the way people are and new leadership. This is Benki. Benki is a leader of the Ashaninka nation. His people live in Brazil and in Peru. Benki comes from a village so remote up in the Amazon that to get there, either you have to fly and land on water or go by canoe for several days. I met Benki 3 years ago in São Paulo when I brought him and other leaders from indigenous peoples to meet with me and leaders from around the world because we wanted to learn from each other. We wanted to share our stories with each other. The Ashaninka people are known throughout South America for their dignity, their spirit, and their resistance, starting with the Incas and continuing through the 19th century with the rubber tappers. Today's biggest threat to the Ashaninka people and to Benki comes from illegal logging, the people who come into the beautiful forest and cut down ancient mahogany trees, float them down the river to rolled markets. Benki knew this. He could see what was happening to his forest, to his environment, because he was taken under his grandfather's wing when he was only 2 years old to begin to learn about the forest and the way of life of his people. His grandfather died when he was only 10. And at that young age, 10 years old, Benki became the Paje of his community. Now, in the Ashaninka tradition and culture, the Paje is the most important person in the community. This is the person who contains within him all the knowledge, all the wisdom of centuries and centuries of life. And not just about his people, but about everything that his people's survival depended on. The trees, the birds, the water, the soil, the forest. So when he was only 10, and he became the Paje, he began to lead his people. He began to talk to them about the forest that they needed to protect, the way of life they needed to nurture. He explained to them that it was not a question of survival of the fittest. It was a question of understanding what they needed to survive and to protect that. 8 years later, when he was a young man of 18, Benki left the forest for the first time. He went 3,000 miles on an odyssey to Rio, to the Earth summit, to tell the world what was happening in his tiny little corner. And he went because he hoped the world would listen. Some did, not everybody. But if you can imagine this young man with his headdress and his flowing robe, learning a new language, Portuguese, not to mention English, going to Rio, building a bridge to reach out to people he'd never met before, a pretty hostile world. But he wasn't dismayed. Benki came back to his village full of ideas, new technologies, new research, new ways of understanding what was going on. Since that time, he's continued to work with his people, and not only the Ashaninka nation, but all the peoples of the Amazon and beyond. He's built schools to teach children to care for the forest. Together, he's led the reforestation of over 25% of the land that had been destroyed by the loggers. He's created a cooperative to help people diversify their livelihoods, and he's brought the internet and satellite technology to the forest, both so the people themselves could monitor the deforestation, but also so that they could speak from the forest to the rest of the world. If you were to meet Benki and ask him, why are you doing this? Why are you putting yourself at risk? Why are you making yourself vulnerable to what is often a hostile world? He would tell you, as he told me, I asked myself, he said, what did my grandparents and my great-grandparents do to protect the forest for me? And what am I doing? So when I think of that, I wonder what our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, when they ask themselves that question, I wonder how they will answer. For me, the world is veering towards a future we don't much want when we really think about it deep inside. It's a future we don't know the details of, but it's a future that has signs, just like Binky saw the signs around him.
So this video shows you an example of a leader in Amazon. What made him a leader? What made him go out of his village was the importance that he associated to the jungle, to the trees, to the survival. That's the value that he had. Remember, our values make us leader. We hold them high. Let's look at your values. I'm going to show you a list of values. Choose your top 3 values. Values come in a set. It could be 1, 2, 3 values. But the important question right now I would like to highlight, how do we discover our values? Who teaches us values? How do you know your values? The answer is very simple. It's straightforward. Look at your decisions. If you have bought latest Apple iPhone, why? Why? Because you want people to say you are modern, or you want to show that you have a very good, you are rich. You want to show off. The reason behind purchase is what? That reason is the value, one value. If you have left your country to another country, why? Was it money? Was it education? Was it career? What was it? The reason will reveal your values. If you have taken admission in a certain institute, why? The answer will reveal your core values. And remember, in marketing, we purchase everything because of the inherent value of the product, the value. For example, why do we drink juice? And why some people won't drink carbonated drinks? Because for them, health is a value. We drink juice because we want to stay healthy. That's a value. Every purchase, and yes, every purchase reflects your value system. If you go and buy products that are low in price, you are price conscious, you value money that you have. But those who buy high price brands, they value the brands that the brand reflect them. It gives them value, the brand gives them value. They feel good, that's the value. So we do everything because of the values that we hold very dear in our lives. We must identify top 3 values in our life. I'm going to show you a list. Highlight 3 values from that list. 3 values that you think are important. Look at this list and ask this question. Is it important in your life? Do you take decisions because of that? Look at the list. Okay. Now what I want you to do, now that you have highlighted 3, can you number them in orders of importance, number 1, number 2, number 3? For example, you might have said achievement, family, and respect, for example. So which is number 1? Achievement, family, or respect? And remember, your decisions will revolve around these 3 most of the time. Core decisions of life. One of my friends highlighted family as number 1 and advancement and promotion as number 2. So I asked him this question: what if your organizations give you a promotion, but you have to stay away from your family? You have to go to another city or another country. What would you do? He thought about it for a second and said, no, I will decline my promotion. Interestingly, in another workshop, another person identified the same pattern: advancement, family as number 1, promotion as number 2. I asked the same question to that person: what would you do? He thought for a moment. He said, I'll take promotion because it's for family. So what he did, he changed the importance of values. So we choose among the 3 values. I would like if you can share your top 1 or top 2 values with me. Then we will like to hear any story that you have that is associated with your practicing of value. It could be a difficulty that you faced because of the value, or it could be a success story like Benki or Nelson Mandela, who practiced a value and achieved success. Think about a story, 1-minute story that we would like you to share with the world. Raise your hand when you're ready. First, share with us your values, and remember, these values describe you, who you are, and what you will be in the future. They will tell you. They are so important. And then do let me know if you are ready to share your story. You suffered because of your value, like the one boy who got the beating because of the value. And by the way, that's a true story, Hacksaw Ridge. Eventually, he got the Medal of Honor of Bravery. Do see that movie. It's one of the fantastic movies in leadership.
You have some responses on the screen.
Sure, please. Yes. I would like to see those responses.
Story. Okay, here you go.
Achievement, family.
Actually, it started from
Wisdom, wow. Religion, economics, security, trust, family. It is in the part of family list. Knowledge, stability, and creativity. Okay, those who have written knowledge, can I ask them a question? How much do they spend on books per year? Are they paying for their own education? Tell us yes or no. Muhammad Fahim said knowledge. No. So knowledge is not your number 1.
online books.
What do you do to get knowledge when you say number 1? Health, family, and career. You want health because you are not healthy right now, or you do exercise because you want to remain healthy. So why healthy is your number 1? Nature, Samir Khan, family, religion, nature. Wow, you are just like me. I love nature. And when we say religion, remember, having religion as number one and being religious are two different things. They are not the same. Fanaticism in religion is something very different, and religion is number one is something very different. Inner Harmony, Samir Khan, and excellent. Ethics and etiquettes. You appear to be a person, a very sophisticated person, excellent. But ethics, excellent. Ethics tells us what is right and what is wrong. Respect as your number one value. Self-respect or respect of others. You want to be respected?
Legacy.
Legacy. Wow, Ahmed Bashirina. Legacy is beautiful. But do you have defined your legacy? What is your legacy? How will you do? Have you started something? What are you going to leave behind? Have you planted a tree? Have you educated a person? What have you done for your legacy?
Interesting. We will listen to a story now.
Yeah. Anybody who's interested to share his story of success based on a value.
They'll have to raise
It could be a family-based success, it could be personal, it could be organizational, I don't know. Raise your hands so that we can unmute that person and everybody will listen to that person.
Nobody's raising hand for it.
Do you have any story to share regarding values? Importance of values? Yeah, Farhan. Farhan Zaka. Yes, okay. Let's listen to Mr. Farhan Zaka.
Farhan Zaka lowered his hand.
Okay.
Okay.
Hassan Javed and Mujammil Haq. Mohammad Mujammil Haq. He was the first one to raise. Okay. Mr. Mujammil, you are on.
Can you hear us, Mujammil?
Yes, I'm hearing.
Excellent, great. So we're eager to know your story. Are you going to share your story with us?
We can't hear you. Mujammil, we can't hear you. Can you?
He's muted himself again. Somebody else.
Okay.
Somebody else.
Hassan Javed, Hassan Javed, ये विशाल उठा ले, विशाल उठा ले,
Vishal?
विशाल उठा ले, अभी नहीं आ रहे.
Self-muted again. You don't want to be unmuted. Don't raise your hand if you don't want to share your story.
ऊपर हसन जावेद.
Self-muted. No. Numan Khalek. Self-muted again. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Let's
doesn't matter. See, yes, it's a difficult area because we have never realized that our life success could be based on the value. For example, if we talk about religion, people have got success because of religion, it's because of money, it's because of knowledge. For example, one area where my success is in family. Now, family as my value means I will help my family in multiple dimensions. First is upbringing of my children.
बंद करो यार ये. Hello.
हाँ जी, कौन थे?
Who was this? Sorry.
पता नहीं चलेगा.
Oh, okay. I've muted him once again.
Okay, leave it. Okay. So, family being number one value of my life, among the top three, not number one, top three, I keep on switching between family and knowledge. Upbringing of my children was one of the most important things. And I spent a lot of time in upbringing of my children. I take time out. I'm very busy person. I travel a lot and I study a lot. But I take time out for my family. I go to exercises, gyms, and parks with my children. But at the same time, focusing on their character. Family is very, very important for me. One time, I found out that my son is using abusive language. So he's very important. And that thing I could not expect from him. So I told him, I said, look, son, if your language is same as the language of a person who has not been getting the same amount of training from his parents, then it's not right. I am failing. For me, you are very important. For me, your character is very important. But if you keep on using this type of language, that shows that we are not really training you well. Since we are very close, when we have friendship, as a family, we are friendly. We do not beat our children and we do not have any such things. So family is very important. So we go together on walks. Me and my son go on walks. We say father and son time. So family means how much do you care? It's not only financial, please mind it. It's emotional. It's relationship. So each value is depicted into behaviors. When you say family, what behaviors do you want to see? So is it only financial? How much time do you give? How much emotional energy do you give? So your values are converted into behaviors. When you say nature, many people said nature. What do you do to protect nature? How many times do you go close to nature? How do you ensure nature is protected? Do you throw garbage, and when you go to nature, do you throw plastics there? So every value is converted into your behaviors. And leadership is about values. The first thing and the most important thing is your values. So identified. If when you work in an organization, each organization must have identified values. And here I would like to share with you a quote from Jack Welch, famous CEO of General Electric. He said in his retirement speech, and you can read this quote from Jack Welch on web as well. He said, there are 4 types of people in your organization. 1, who have values and bring dollar. Retain them. Then he said there are people who have values, but they do not bring dollars. Retain them and train them. Make them a good employee. Then he said there are people in your organization who have no values and they do not bring dollars. Fire them, throw them out of the organization. And then he said, there are people in your organization who have no values, but they are your best performers, they are your top salespeople, they are your best employees. What should we do with them? People who have no values and they're not performing, we fire them. People who have values but are not performing, we are training them. People who are performing and have values, we are retaining and we are growing them. But what to do with the people who have no values but they are best performers? He said, shoot them. Yes, Jack Welch said, shoot them. That's the importance of values for the organizations. Warren Buffett said, I hire for integrity, which is an important value. We hire for values and skills. We fire for attitudes and values. One of the most important value that research has identified, it's a unanimous value across the world and across the literature, is integrity. Are you corruptible? Do you adhere to your promises? Do your code of conduct? What is your level of integrity? If you look at the world around us, the politics and everything, one thing we do not see is integrity. On the other hand, the world is demanding people of integrity, and because of this importance on moral and values and integrity, Harvard School has started a course on leadership and ethics. Now this point is being added to all the courses. There's an ethical rules in ACCA, accounting, medical, chemistry, engineering, business. Wherever you go, you will find values and ethics. Every organization is trying to define value system where they are requiring you to adhere to that value system. Integrity. This is the first litmus test of leadership. If your leader is a cheat, you can't follow him. Integrity. Yes. And that's where we are moving towards. Know your values and hold on to them like anything. They just imagine you are hanging by your values and they're down deep, there's a gorge. If you let go of your values, that gorge will take you alive. And if you have to change your values, be very conscious. Why are you changing your values? Leadership is all about values. Look at the leaders of the world, they are all about values. Now comes the most important part of leadership. Most important part. Courage. And that's where many people have asked, how do you develop courage? I am coward. How do you overcome fear? Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to act in the presence of fear. There is no concept of leadership without courage. Now let's see how do we develop courage. And here I'll share with you the secret of leadership. Most people don't know how the seed of leadership is converted into a tree. Question is, how do you develop courage? The answer is stand for something, love something, be passionate. It is the love of something. It is the love. Leadership is born in the environment of love. When you really, really, really love yourself and your people and your cause. When you feel the pain in your heart, that's where the leadership is born. Courage is born when you love. When your level of love goes to the level of passion and it burns within you. If you do not have love, you are not a leader. You can never become one. And if you have no courage, you can never become a leader. When I said communication style of leadership is assertive, assertive communication style means talking without fear. You have no fear, not even losing your job, not even losing your life. Love is a very important part of your value system. Do you really love something? You all have courage. Put yourself in a situation where your loved ones are being threatened. What would you do? Stand and watch? Are you ready to die? We all have courage built in. But the question is the value and the cause. When we look at the leaders of the world, be it religious or political, they were able to stand because they loved their cause. Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Churchill, all leaders, they are known for their courageous stand on issues. What do you love? Do you love yourself? That's a very big question. Do you love yourself? Ask this question to your own self. Do you love yourself? If the answer is yes, my question, do you spend on yourself? How many of you have given gift to your own self? Let's see. Let's see your answers. If you love yourself, how many of you have given gift to your own self? Let's see your answers.
Okay. So many times.
Oh, Saraswati, so nice. Never. Priya, oh, so sad. Yes, you should give yourself gift. Most of the time. Celebrate your successes. If you're not happy, who else will be? Make a point to give yourself gift.
I love myself more than anything else. Okay.
Then prove it.
Alright.
Spend money on your own self. Don't spend it on others.
I don't say that I bought myself a watch.
Yes. If you love yourself, protect yourself, grow yourself, pamper yourself, enjoy with your own self. Okay, if you love yourself, let me give you another question. How many of you can sit alone with your own self for 15 minutes? How many of you can sit alone for 15 minutes with your own self?
I do. I love sitting with myself.
My family is more important than me. Yes, exactly. But so you can't spend your. I can spend hours. I'm beautiful, love it.
This is a good one. Vikas is saying.
But 5 seconds in line. Once in a week for 30 minutes. Excellent. You love yourself. You can't. You have to sit with yourself. You must enjoy your own company. Come on, or you are the most boring person in the world. You can't bear your own self. I love hugging myself. This is the most beautiful Vikas. But let me give you an advice. When you really love someone, go and give a hug. Of course I do, but I don't get time for myself. What a good answer, Priya. Think about it. Love yourself. Love yourself. This is the most important part of leadership. Only then you will be able to love others and take a stand. If you love yourself, only then you can take a stand. Why I have no answer screen? Okay, let's move forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we talk about courage, it's the most difficult part in leadership because you become afraid to stand up. You're afraid to challenge. That's where we fail as a leader. Oh, we might lose my job. My boss will become angry. What will I do if I have no job? How will I support my family? What if they become angry? My friends will not go talk to me. There are situations in life that takes courage away from me. Yes, they will be there. And yes, you are allowed to let courage go at times. But please, it should only be 9%, 10% of the time, not 100%. Courage is standing in front of the fear and facing that fear in its eyes and saying, I'm not afraid of you. Yes, I acknowledge you are there, I'm not afraid. And believe me, it's very difficult. I have gone through many times these situations. I've seen people tremble. I've seen people falling down, wetting their pants. It's not easy. Courage comes, let me tell you, is a part of confidence. What is opposite of confidence? Let me ask you this question. Tell me the answer. What is the opposite of confidence? If you want to understand confidence, you have to answer this question. I can help you enhance your confidence, but only if you answer me this question. What is the opposite of confidence? Yeah, sure. Hesitation, cowardness, yes. Doubt, excellent. Overconfidence is the level of confidence. It's not opposite. I'm low in confidence, high in confidence.
Fear.
Fear, yay! Yes, clapping for you. Secondar.
Zada was the first one.
Fear. Yes, the opposite of confidence is not low confidence, it is fear. Why? Because where there is confidence, there is no fear. Where there is fear, there is no confidence. So the question is, how do we overcome fear? But before that, let me ask you another question. I'm giving you 4 types of fear. Tell me which is the most important fear. Poll them. Top fears in the world. I'm showing you 4 fears. There's a poll coming up. Rank these fears in terms of importance.
The poll is on the screen.
Poll is on the screen.
How much time do they get? 1 minute?
1 minute. Tell me, which fear do you think is the most important? And by the way, a research was conducted on these fears in the world. Like I will share you the results.
5 minutes, 15 for question answers, 20 minutes for 15 minutes. Okay, surprising results. None is surprising because most of them are accurate.
Yeah, thanks. Excellent.
Yeah. About 5 seconds left. Okay, sharing the results. According to the results, 32% think fear of death. 56% thought fear of what will people say.
Excellent.
10%, however, said fear of loss of money, and 2% said fear of heights.
Okay. Yes. Number one fear in the world, among the top 2 fears in the world, is fear of death and what people will say. And this is what exactly research in the world said. And you know what is confidence? It's number 2. We are afraid what will people say. Oh, if I did a mistake, what will people say? If I may fail, what will people say? When I stand up before the presentation and people ask me a question I couldn't answer, what will people say? So they tremble and they shiver and they talk about everything in the possible because they have a fear of what will people say. And if you dig deep into this fear, it's a fear of insult. I will feel insulted. Oh, if I couldn't answer that question, I will feel insulted. What will people say? They will insult me. If I fail, people will insult me. It's not fear of what people will say, rather it's a fear of insult. And when you have fear of insult, what will happen to your confidence? And it goes. What if your belief changes to the statement, nobody in the world can insult you or you are insult proof. I'm not saying become an egoistic. No, I'm not saying, no, don't mean that ego. I'm meaning nobody in the world can insult you. Can you think of a person who went to jail and he was not insulted? Yes, Nelson Mandela. Can you think of people who were abused, people threw stones at them and they were not insulted? Yes, many times in movements, this is what happens. Imagine you are an actor. You have just performed in a movie and critics have critically analyzed your performance and it's pathetic. You don't know how to act. Are they insulting you or are they critically analyzing your performance? Think again. Are they insulting you or critically analyzing your performance? They were analyzing your performance. They were not insulting you. Because you and your roles are different. You perform multiple roles in your life. Nobody can insult you in your life. You have the right to commit mistakes. You cannot learn if you do not do mistakes. You have the right to say, I do not know the answer because you have a limited knowledge. There are so much knowledge in the world that you don't know. You have a limited knowledge. Everybody in the world has limited knowledge. And if somebody has asked you a good question, you don't know, thank that person for enhancing your level of knowledge. There's no insult. So when you come to leadership, you will do mistake. Leaders, there's no such thing, no mistakes. They do mistakes and they accept their mistakes. It's a part of learning and moving forward. When you move, you stumble. So there are two types of confidence, self-esteem and self-efficacy. Self-efficacy, your ability to do. Self-esteem is your ability to know that you are respected. You are respected in your own eyes. So enhance your self-esteem and self-confidence.
Vikas wants a comment
Sure.
to be included in this point. He's saying, I admire the confidence and body language of the extra dancers in the movies.
Yes.
If they are underconfident, imagine what would the entire dance look like.
Exactly. Thank you. Very nice. It is the confidence that makes the performance look good. And average performance becomes beautiful because of the confidence level. So have confidence in yourself and give yourself the right to do mistakes. That is what is more important. And this is how you destroy your self-esteem. When you compare yourself to others negatively, oh, I'm not good, I'm not intelligent, I belong to this village, my parents are not rich. This is how you destroy. Leaders do not give themselves bad labels. This is what gives them courage. So to develop courage, you must have a cause, you must have a passion, you must love. It is in the ocean of love that the seed of leadership grows into tree. It is courage that feeds on the insects that eat that leadership seed. Love yourself, be passionate. Hold on to your values and be guided with the vision. That's the next topic, the personal change agenda. One reason people resist change is because they focus on what they have to give up instead of what they have to gain. Leadership is about change. Do you have a change agenda? Do you have a personal change agenda? Do you have, or in other words, I would like to ask a question. Do you have a goal? And note, the difference between a manager and a leader is nothing but change. Manager does not want things to change. He protects status quo. Leader, on the other hand, challenges the status quo and wants to change. And the change could be at as small as your own style of working. It could be as small as your own style of communication. It could be as important as helping a person change his own habits. It could be as big as changing the destiny of a nation. So, manager manages resources, protects status quo, leader creates change. So change means, what are your goals? Do you have a goal in your life that you are pursuing? And when we say goal, we are not meaning wishes. By the way, how do you convert your wishes into goals? Can you tell me an idea? How can you convert your wishes into your goal? We all have wishes, thousands of them. So I would like to ask this question, how can you convert your wishes into goals? Let's see. Wishes plus plan, Vakas, good, Jabal. Determination, yes. Excellent, Sharik. Write them down and make action plan to achieve them. Excellent. Through courage, hard work, by actionable activities. Excellent. Making actionable plans. Yes. Actions in that way. Excellent. Okay. Excellent. Let me give you a very simple hint. Yes, we all need actions. To need actions. Now, let me give you a simple idea. Write down your wish. Now I want you to do it with me. Write down your one wish, smart approach. Excellent. We will just talk about the smart approach, Umair. What I want you to do, write your wish, whatever it is. It could be becoming President of America if you are entitled to vote in America. Give it a timeline. How many time? In what time frame? As soon as you give this wish a time frame, it's a goal. Now the difference between possible and impossible is this timeline. If you are given to become a president of a country in 1 month, I'm sorry, it's impossible. But if you're given a time frame of 10 years, yes, it is possible. As soon as you give a time to a wish, it becomes a goal. Second thing, now give a resource. Save 1 penny for that goal. Give 1 second of action to that goal. Take the first step towards that goal. That is your goal. So, but goal means change. All goals are measured on this formula, SMART, S-M-A-R-T. Goals have to be specific. Specific means they must pertain to certain area. I want to be healthy. It's not specific. What aspect of health do you want? Do you want your blood pressure, your weight, your figure, whatever? So it has to be specific area. SMART. Measurable. In management, they say, if you cannot measure, you cannot achieve, you cannot control. So if you want to say healthy, how would you measure? What is the measure? So if you want to say, I want to increase my stamina of 1 kilometer, that's measurable. But if you do not give a measure, for example, you say, I want to be motivated. What is the measure? If you can't measure it, you can never achieve it. A is achievable. Is your goal reasonable? A is related with the T. Can you accomplish it? R. Now, R has multiple meanings. It must be relevant to your life. It must be an area which is important to you. It must relate to your value systems. And R also relate to the resources that you will require for that thing. What resources do you have? And then time bound. Give it a time. Time is the most important part. Give it a time, the goals. Now, what is the relationship of goals and change? This is very, very important. We all make goals, but we do not understand the relationship of goals and change. In order to achieve our goals, we must change. Change what? Change our capabilities, change our skills, change our knowledge. So once we identify what changes are required to achieve that goal, we are always successful, always. Why? Even if I do not achieve our goals, we have changed our capabilities. For example, I had decided to do my MBA. I have taken admission in MBA. But for some reason, for some economic reason, for some other job reason, I was unable to continue my MBA. But in the process, I have changed. I have learned new dimensions, new techniques, new knowledge. So when we set a goal and we identify the changes that are required, we become successful from the very moment. That is the beauty of goal. And leadership is all about goals, achieving objectives. And each objective must create a change. Now remember, a goal can only be defined a goal when we cannot reach it within our given resources. That means we must create a change, we must get out of our comfort zone. Only then it will be a goal, because it is going to teach me something new. If I reach my hand and grab, that's not a goal. A goal has to be far. That requires an effort for me to reach it. And in doing that effort, I will change. Now the important question, how many goals in life should you have? 1, 2, 10? How many? And how many do you have in your life? How many of you have more than 2 goals in their life?
Many goals.
Many goals, excellent. 3 goals, many, excellent. You know, growth in life is dependent upon goals. And the concept of time management is when you have multiple goals. Be very focused. Have you written maybe 1,000 goals in different contexts? Oh, that's too much. You can't manage them. Cannot count. Now you must count. If you cannot count, you don't have goals. Sorry. That's overexcitement. You must know your goals. You must write down your goals. You must make them specific, measurable, relevant, time bound. You must allocate resources to your goals. You have 1,000 wishes, but my friend, you may have only 2 goals or 3 goals. Goals for which are those for which you are making a commitment, for which you are giving resources, you are giving your time, your energy. But to have a balanced life, you must have 2 to 3 goals. And as a leader, one area of a goal is the societal goals. Add to you, what I am doing right now is as part of my societal goal. I'm reaching out to society of the world. I'm helping you understand leadership. This is part of my societal goals. I teach as part of my societal goal. As a leader, you must have a societal goal. You must have a goal for family, for self. If you want to know how to keep yourself motivated, you must have goals to which you are committed. For some goals, you will give time 1 hour a week. For some goals, you might give only 2 hours a year. And for some goals, you will give every day. Each goal must be linked with a new capability, must be linked with a new skill, must be linked with a new strength, must be linked with a new knowledge. If your goals are not giving you new knowledge, new capabilities, new strengths, they are not goals. They are merely wishes or your tasks, everyday tasks. Don't count going to the shop and buying bread is a goal. No, it's not a goal, it's a task. It's an everyday task. Each goal must give you some new strength, new skill, new competence. That's what goal is. And that's how we grow. Goals take us from here to here. When we are here, we grow like this to the goal. This growth requires learning of new skills, new capabilities. Grow. Leadership is about growth. It's not about consistency. Growth. Grow. Have goals. Give resources, give commitments, give time. Learn new things. That's what goals are. If you're not learning, you're doing daily tasks. That's not goals. And the most important part, vision. Vision are an outcome of goals. Visions are the pictures of you achieving your goals. Have you seen yourself achieving goals? Or you have just set a goal? Oh, I'll do my MBA, I'll do my CCA, I'll do my CFA, I'll do my this. These are goals. But have you seen yourself doing it? What will happen when you achieve it? If your goal is about your own self, you are at the personal level. When your goal is about a nation, you are a leader for a nation. When your goal is about your family, you are a leader of a family. So the size of goals determine your size of leadership. And people work for you not because of your goals, but because of the vision that they see what is in it for them, for your goals. People follow visions. What they see is the goal.
One more poll question. Feedback about
You must listen to this speech by Martin Luther King. He is the only black man whose statue is in National Museum, Washington. And his speech, I Have a Dream. I'm going to show you a small clip, 20-second part of that clip, I Have a Dream. This speech changed the face of the world, changed America forever. Vision, understand vision. Easy. No. नहीं करना कुछ नहीं उसमें बात करते होगी ना उसमें से
ऑडियो क्लियर नहीं जाती
फिर Martin Luther King.
I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of
Just wanted to show you the importance of that dream. The sons of slaves and sons of slaves owners will be sitting together on the table of brotherhood. That was a dream. That was a vision. What he was seeing, that is what motivated people. Convert your goals into visions. People, all of us see visions. Where do we want to be? So, let's move forward. If you want to achieve your visions, your dream, what I would like, not now, but take time. This is a time-consuming thing. Look at your goal. Convert your goal into a story of accomplishment once you have accomplished your goal. For example, you have done your ACCA or you have become a CEO of a company. What will happen? So what? What will happen? Write a story, write a drama, write a picture, create a picture. See that picture today as it has happened. Imagine it has happened. You have achieved your goal. And if the goal involves people other than you, show them that picture. That is what will motivate them and make them you into a leader. That is what vision is all about. Communicating the picture that you have in your mind to the people so that they can also see what you see. People work for the vision, not for the leader. Vision is the picture of achievement. It's a video, it's the movie of the goal that you have created. If you can't see the video of your own goal, nobody else can see. Vision is an outcome of your goal that you want to achieve. This is what motivates you. Your goal motivates you. Your goal must be associated with a value, because value is what motivates you. And your vision is a continuous thing that motivates you. You keep on visiting that vision again and again. You hear the video that motivates you. Motivation is nothing but ability to see the benefit in something. You ask the question, what if people who are retiring age, because they have no vision, they can't see any benefit, they are not associated, they are not motivated. Give them a reason, give them a goal to hang on. Give them a chance to leave their legacy. Give them a chance to be a part of something. They are seeing they are getting out of this thing which they are no longer a part. Why they be motivated? If you are not motivated for a goal, why should anybody else be? Leadership is about motivation. Do you know what motivates you? When you are down, when you are difficulty, and when you cannot achieve your goal, what motivates you? What puts you back? Be very, very clear about your motivations. Because at times there will be nobody else to motivate you but your own self. You must know how to motivate your own self. Imagine you leading your people and you have not achieved your goal and everybody is demotivated. How would you motivate yourself? Because if you talk to them without motivation, you will not create an effect. It comes from inside. If you believe, only then. If you are passionate, only then. Look at your vision. And the last thing, and the most important thing, and this is a point where 90% of the leaders fail. I have seen people failing in this last point. How do you learn what leadership if you do not have a role model? Do you have a role model? Think about it. Do you have a role model in your life? You might have seen leaders. You might have read about leaders. You might have watched movies about leaders. My question, do you have a role model in your life that you follow? To that, many answers no. We have never thought about it. Do you have a mentor in your life? Do you have a coach in your life? Are you a role model to somebody? Are you teaching leadership to somebody? Are you developing some person? If you do not have a role model in your life, mark my word, you can never become a leader. You can become a good manager, but never a leader. Leadership is all about followership. If you cannot follow somebody, how can you be a leader? Only a good follower can become a good leader. If you do not have a vision that you follow, you can never become a leader. If you cannot follow a leader, you can never become a leader. If you do not have a role model in your life, and role model could not necessarily a living, it could be a person who has died a long time ago. It could be even imaginary, Superman, Batman, they are role models, by the way. They are our imaginary role models. Do you have a role model? My question to you. And what do you do with role model? Why? Why should we have role model? How do we learn leadership from role model? How do we learn from a role model? That's a very, very important question. Think about it again. Why should we have role model and how do we learn from a role model? Remember, I'm going to answer, but look at this slide right now in front of you. Remember, people are looking up to you. They are wanting you to take charge of their lives. They want you to be in the leadership position because they might be weak, they are afraid. They don't have the courage that you do. They are looking up to you. They could be your sisters, your brothers, your parents, your boss, your organization, your environment, your society. They could be looking up to you right now to come forward and lead them. You could be their role model. There's one answer to that question. If you have a role model, first figure out how they got it. Understand their life. But this is how you should ask a question. You question the role model. How do you think? How do you talk? What are your values? What are your skills? What should I do? If you copy their thinking, if you copy their value system, if you copy their skills, you will be just like them. But I'm not saying be a copycat. No, I'm not saying. Please don't think I'm saying be a copycat. No. But learning requires copying. And then you add to it your own creativity. But you must understand how leaders think, how leaders walk, how leaders talk. You must understand the fundamentals. What makes them assertive? How can they overcome their fear? What do they think when they are afraid? How do they motivate themselves? How do they motivate others? What do they talk? How do they negotiate? All these things, yes, you have to ask these questions. Observe them in their performance and ask this question, raise this question. Can you tell me how did you do that? What was your thinking pattern? And then understand the thought pattern at the behind, the belief system at the back. Once this is what neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, talks about. When we copy, when we understand how people behave, and we copy their behavior, we behave at that level. Go and study NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. You will understand the power of performance. So have a role model in your life. And the end, these are the behaviors that you need to think about. Read about the behaviors of leadership. These will be coming up in the next workshops, leadership behaviors. This is my email. I'll be looking forward to your comments, your suggestions about this workshop. And we are going for a poll about feedback about this workshop. Please give your suggestions and your feedback on this workshop. It was a pleasure talking to you people. Looking forward to see you people again. Thank you.
You've got 1 minute, 30 seconds to give your feedback about how did you enjoy the session. Was it useful? Was excellent? Was very useful? It could have been better, or it wasn't useful. Thirty seconds more. In the meanwhile, meanwhile, let me just do some housekeeping. As usual, we will be sharing the video recording of this webinar with all of you. It will be available on 3 different channels: on GoToWebinar, number 1, number 2 on Vimeo, and number 3 on YouTube. Secondly, the certificates of participation. We will email the certificates of participation to all the participants on the next working day, which is, in this case, Monday. So on Monday, we will email your certificates to all of you, to the participants, number 1, who are active, and number 2, who attended a major portion of the webinar. The contact details of the trainer, Mr. Mubin, will be appearing on your screens in a bit. All right, thank you very much. I think this was useful. I'm just going to share the results of the poll with you. Fantastic, I think. 37% are saying this was excellent. 45% are saying this was very useful. So collectively, that's about 82%. And then 15% said they found it useful. 2% said it could have been better. And these 2% we find out from them why they found it.
Sure.
0% thought this was not useful. So I think good feedback. Thank you very much. The contact details of Mr. Mubin are on the screen for you to note down. You can email Mr. Mubin al-Haq at this address if you have any queries. Great. I think with that we conclude this session. I hope you found it. I hope you found the topic interesting. I hope you found the way Mr. Mubin explained it. Going into all that details, the emotions, the sharing, the knowledge. I think you must have found all of that very useful. And very important point that Mr. Mubin just made.
Take the journey.
Exactly. Complete the journey.
Take the journey. Start the journey of leadership and face the problems.
I think they started the journey already. I mean, it will be complete when they take it back to their workplace.
Yes.
And the learnings that they've made.
Face the problems, and then we will find out challenges of leadership.
Precisely. So I think with that we conclude the session, and good luck to you all, and we will see you on the next webinar now. Thank you very much. We'll be signing out from here.
Last,